Trey Hollowman in the portal. Just wow. What can you even say? Well, luckily we're going to find some words about that.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white, 5 days a week right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below if you're watching on YouTube your thoughts on the bombshell that dropped this morning. Trey Hollowman in the transfer portal less than 48 hours after the season concludes, and wowzers. Look, we are recording this roughly 2-3 hours after the news dropped on Twitter, and it's probably good, selfishly speaking right now, because, you know, if we did this like right after it dropped, oh boy, we would have been pretty fiery. We would have had a lot of just mean, unfair things to say. 80% of the anger would have been at Trey. 20% would have been at the system that allows for this. But, you know, I'm trying to work on myself. I'm trying to work on maturity here. So I think in those 2-3 hours, it's flipped. Don't worry. If you're tuning in to get full unhinged Matt, which I know some of you guys are, we'll get bits and pieces of that. We're going to mix in some mature analysis with just a little bit of immaturity. I can't throw a perfect game on here, but let's get into it because, yeah, this drops. Trey Hollowman, a captain, a guy that's more than likely going to be a starter on next year's team, a guy that delivered so many great moments for Michigan State in their Big Ten championship season. Yeah, he's out of here. See ya. Thanks for the 3 years, but I am gone. Your first emotions, shocking. You're stunned. You're just angry at someone or something. You think it's an April Fool's Day joke, and hey, you know what? Maybe you went right into full-on cope and told yourself that, whoa, it's supposed to mean that Jase Richardson is coming back, and I do have to give everyone the heads up. As we are recording this, little Instagram posts are starting to percolate about Jase Richardson, and not like the fun ones for Michigan State fans. It seems like his teammates are bidding him farewell. This would be a surprise to no one if Jase was to leave, but yeah, leave it to Locked On Spartans to have the luck of recording about Trey Hollowman, and while we're doing this, Jase making his announcement. Anyway, I will say this. This is where we'll start like the bulk of the conversation here. And guys, I can't just peddle every rumor that I'm sent during the season. And that's not to make myself sound like, oh my God, my inbox is always full with rumor after rumor, inside information tidbit after inside information tidbit. No, it's not that drastic, but we do, you know, get a few random messages. And if I said all of them, I'd get myself into a lot of trouble because, well, by and large, the bulk of them don't turn out to be true. But this one, I have no problem reading now because, well, it seems to be that there is some validity to this right now. On March 10th, this is less than 24 hours after the whole logo incident on Senior Day, after Michigan State raises their Big Ten championship banner, I get this the following afternoon from a random person on Twitter. Quote, a very close D1 coach friend said Trey to Texas Tech has been confirmed. Have you guys heard any murmurs? And like my first instinct is that's incredibly strange. I'm sure that's not coming out of nowhere from them, but that would be real out of pocket to already have a deal lined up before March Madness even begins. Now, I do want to reiterate this. This is a rumor, like capital R on this. This is all alleged. Okay, like just he could very well be going elsewhere. He could come back to Michigan State for all we know. We'll get into that in a little bit, but interesting. And there are rumors that, hey, you know, Minnesota's after him. I've heard Arizona State. I saw one random person on Twitter shout UConn out. Who knows where Trey is going to go, but boy, does it really seem like that something was a little up here. And we're not childish. We're not naive. We know this happens in college basketball, college football. It's been happening for a few years. And no, it's not Trey cold calling other programs himself. No, there are agents that do that on behalf of kids. And again, this is all rumors. This is all just opinion. And look, and here's more of my opinion. Again, I'm not reporting this, but here's just what I suspect might have just happened. What do I know? Something happened in the background. Because, like, it's not normal to be a captain on a team, have a significant role with said team, said winning team. Have the whole kiss the floor on the last day moment, be penned in as a starter for next season, and then leave 48 hours after the season, right before your senior year. That is just not normal. But there is no more normal in this landscape. And you know what? That's where most of my ire goes to. Just this is how it is in college basketball now. But before we get to all that, maturity and talking about matter of fact why this has happened, let's step into Trey's shoes right now, because I think this is also a mature look at this, a factual look at this, because why would Trey do something like this? How dare he? Okay. The money being thrown around in college sports is stupid. I think a real good portion of the fan base knows that, but I still think that there is also a good portion that really doesn't know what kind of money is being thrown around here. We are not talking about Michigan State, paying Trey Hollowman, for example, $30,000, and some other school calling and saying, hey, we're going to offer you $35,000. We are not splitting hairs over $5,000 here. These are some massive numbers being thrown around. If you want to just go ahead and throw more rumors out there, and this might not be necessarily in Trey's predicament, although I could very well see it being the case. You got guys out there, solid role players that are going to be contributors in the transfer portal, fetching somewhere around $800,000 and $900,000. Okay, guys, Trey's got one more year left of college eligibility, and this is not to throw a slight at Trey or to dog on the kid for any reason. He's not, most likely not, an NBA player where, he's just going to make it rain and make hundreds of millions in his entire career. No, he could very well make a career for himself over in Europe. That is a fine career path to have. But a quick Google search tells me that the top leagues in Europe, their salaries are between $700,000 to $1 million. If you want to get into the second-tier leagues, okay, it's $200,000 to $600,000. Guys, this is a long way of saying this could be Trey's biggest annual salary grab yet in his career. Okay, I'm sure this was actually a very tough decision for Trey Hollowman. And let's say it's not all about money. Maybe he was rubbed a little the wrong way coming off the bench this year, although I don't necessarily suspect that to be the case. Maybe he wants to be that ball-dominant point guard, and he would have to split that time with Jeremy Fears next year, maybe even giving Jeremy Fears more of a share of the ball-handling duties. It could be and probably is a list of reasons why, but I'm sure money is the top reason here. Now, here's where I'll dip into immature territory here. I'll admit it. I mean, hey, I'm a fan at heart. I want great things for Michigan State University, but yeah, I'm upset at the system. 80%, but 20%, I am a little irritated and disappointed at this decision by the kid and the agent and the handlers themselves here. Again, you were a captain on this team. You got starters minutes. You got the leash. You know what? I'll pause myself right here. This is where I'm going to really show growth right now, because I was going to say you got the leash to go 0 for 10 from the floor in your last game to end Michigan State season, but I'm not going to go there. Okay, I want credit for that. I'm not going to go there. If I was really feeling myself, I would say that, but I'm not. I just want to be very clear about that. You are, of course, going to be the starter here next year, though. What more could you want after being developed for 3 years, after being taken by a program as big as Michigan State, where the other offers out of high school were fine? You had your Marquettes of the world, your Iowas, your Minnesotas, but, oh man, Tom Izzo took a shot on you. Seemed like things were really going well, and see, it's time to cash in on a payday, which is where we'll switch back to maturity here. Because, yeah, if you have a payday dangling in front of your face, again, probably a very, very tough decision. Probably got to take it, though, right, guys? I mean, but this is how it goes. The system allows for agents before March Madness to start drying off the ink on deals before the tournaments even begin here. So be right back with plenty more to say on this whole situation. But first, guys, get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. We're talking Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you will find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you will always talk to a real person, and for the trade pros looking for that extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and guys, now it is your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. Also, guys, Monarch Money, your personal CFO, guys. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Oh my goodness. Well, between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it is easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Now, Monarch Money isn't just a normal budgeting app, it is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. Guys, when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. And now, well, yeah, we're budgeting a lot smarter in this household. And managing money with your partner goes smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without all that stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use Locked On College at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code Locked On College for half off your first year. So, now, we've all learned a hard lesson. It comes for every single program. Michigan State fans for a little bit thought we were bulletproof from this, that, hey, culture is going to win over everything here. But culture is a one-way street. That's a lesson that we've learned here. Izzo provided the culture here to this program and is still providing the culture here by not recruiting over guys in the portal. Now, that's not to say he doesn't go out and get guys from the portal. He got a Frankie Fiddler. He got a Shimon Sapala. Who are those guys necessarily starting over that was already ready to start? Okay, like, yeah, Carson Cooper, you could say, was going to be the starter. I think it was all understood by all parties that he had another year of development left before he became a Big Ten starting center. Anyway, guys, he's also making sure when he goes shopping in the portal, he's not bringing in guys that are going to make 3-4 times the amount of anyone else on this roster. And that is a deliberate action by him. That's what keeps the C word, the culture intact there in the locker room. So, after all that, at worst, he's thanked by a player and an agent having a deal in place before the tournament starts, okay? That's if, like, all these rumors have come true, which, that'd be crazy if we say right things on this podcast. But at best, like, even the best case scenario is that, like, you're thanked by your soon-to-be senior bolting after 3 years of development, trust, and captainship. Like, That sucks. I know, it's ridiculous to cry for Tom Izzo, who's making millions upon millions of dollars, but man, he's doing it in an unconventional, old-school way. Really helped Michigan State this year, and bam. But before the third sunrise after the season, like, that's already being blown up. Okay, so, like, I'm disappointed in the player. Of course, like, go get your payday. Okay, I want to be very, very crystal clear on that. I understand why. You got to take care of yourself first. You got to make tough decisions first. Still disappointed, but, like, I'm mostly angry at the system. Now, if you want to walk beyond door number 3, which is, well, hey, why aren't you railing against Michigan State? Why aren't they taking care of Trey financially and bringing him back? Okay, that's fair. That's valid. I think that it would be an interesting study to what would it do to the locker room if, okay, they gave Trey, from what I know, like twice as much money to match an offer elsewhere that they've ever given any other player here. But maybe this is the wake-up call for Michigan State. Maybe this is the wake-up call to the NIL coffers or Tom Izzo or whoever is making these salary decisions, quote-unquote, is that, yes, great, do it your way. Don't go get a $1 million transfer portal player and disrupt the culture in your locker room. But do know this. In order to keep the guys in your locker room, you do have to shell out that kind of money. You do have to be comfortable with paying twice, 3, 4 times the amount you used to be paying. Maybe this is the wake-up call for Michigan State. Maybe Michigan State does match what's out there for Trey Hollowman. Maybe he does come back. I wouldn't suspect that, but guys, who knows what could happen here. But yeah, if you want to be upset at Michigan State, the landscape, Trey himself, a cocktail of all 3 of those, who am I to tell you? Don't be. Like, of course you can be. You're your own free person. So at the end of all this, though, like, how the hell hasn't Tom just, like, announced his retirement? How much does he hate just being at home and enjoying just, like, downtime? just golfing, enjoying his lake house on Lake Michigan. How much does he hate all of that? Like, to stick around and deal with all this nonsense that gets worse every single year, he's got to have his brain examined. He's got to have something wrong with him. I would have been out of the game 4 or 5 years ago if I was in his shoes, but that's why we love Tom. He is a glutton for this sort of stuff, so I just can't believe he's still doing it. Not the only transfer of the day. Garrick Norman, he's in the transfer portal. What do you want me to say about that? I mean, that's not a shock at all. He got sparing playing time. I'm really hoping that it all works out for Garrick. I think it's a little different situation than Trey Hollowman. Trey, he had a role cemented on this team, whereas Garrick, look, if you want to point to the injuries that he had freshman year, putting him behind the 8 ball, fine. I think there's some validity to that too, but it would have been hard to carve out a role here, even in his 3rd year. That's a kid that I love coming out of high school. His tape, thought he had a lot of moxie to his game, a high motor. But good luck to wherever Garrick Norman goes next. We're going to be a little quick on that. So next year, now what? Now what? No, really, now what? Like, that's a rhetorical and non-rhetorical question here because, look, if Jase leaves, which he's probably going to, now Trey is most likely gone. You have one guy on this team that knows how to dribble a basketball, and that's Jeremy Fears. You're going to need another ball handler out of the portal. You're also going to need another 2-man out of the portal because, well, your starting rotation right now is Jeremy Fears, no backup point guard. Kurt Tang at the 2, no one really behind him. And then at the 3, you have Cohen Carr, Jordan Scott, Cam Ward. The 4, right now you have Jackson Kohler, maybe Xavier Booker. There might be news on him soon. Who knows? And at the 5, Carson Cooper, Jesse McCulloch. Look, hey, Nick Sanders had a really good year, right, guys? A lot of big shots. Scored in the NCAA tournament. Right now, he's your backup point guard. So, look, Michigan State, yes, they have 2 recruits coming in. They're going to have to get 3, maybe 4 bodies out of the transfer portal, which would go against anything Tom Izzo has ever done here. But fact of the matter is, you need to start building the roster now, and I really need to see someone other than Jeremy Fears be able to dribble a basketball in the game of basketball. All right, guys, we're going to end here. Might see you later tonight, depending on what news drops. We might see you in a few minutes here. I got no idea. It is a whirlwind out there. But really quick, hey, good trade news. And, of course, we're talking Augustine. Trey Augustine, the stud goaltender for Michigan State, shocking the college hockey world by not going to the Grand Rapids Griffins and starting his professional career with the Detroit Red Wings, but coming back for a 3rd year at Michigan State. Now, was this entirely spurred by the performance against Cornell in that shocking upset loss? Very well could be. I think, Cornell had 20 shots, maybe 19 shots, gave up 4 goals. Not all of them were entirely on him, but I'm sure that left a horrible taste in his mouth, and he wants to right the wrongs, I'm sure, perhaps. But, man, that's big for Adam Nightingale. So a little bit of hockey talk right there at the end. Sorry, I'm not as equipped as Jeremy Dewar of Spartans Illustrated to give you a hard-hitting analysis on that, but, hey, you got arguably, maybe not even arguably, the best goaltender in college hockey coming back to Michigan State next year, guys. So, all right, we'll see you between now and the end of the day Wednesday. I don't know. Keep it tuned here, Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white. Woo!